Hey everybody, it's KK's World, and today we'll be kicking off my SASUKE 41 predictions, starting with the course. This may be more of a course hopes type video since I knew we probably won't change that much of the course though. But with that out of the way, let's get it started. The first two obstacles, they're very stale, but they're going to stay. The quadriceps and rolling hill combo are going to stay put. That combo has no job whatsoever except to eliminate Katsuhide Torisawa, celebrities, and other morons who take their sweet time on it. The silk slider is getting old, and now that COVID is no longer a global emergency, it's time to change it up. Knowing Inui, we're probably going to get an A&W obstacle. There's some ideas I have like the spinning bow ties, off the hook, or double twister, but for me, the one I find most likely is the cannonball drop. The overall design wouldn't change much except for the silk being swapped out for the ball, and hopefully a few drops added into the track. Next, the current version of the Fishbone Kai has been around since SASUKE 37. I actually don't mind it all that much and see it as a good time waster. If I were to modify something though, I guess I'd space the steps out farther apart or put them at slight angles from each other. Next up, basically the biggest staple on stage 1 now other than the wall is the Dragon Glider. You can try and tell me all you want about how it should be gone, but personally I think that as long as it's built right, it's a great obstacle and it's a good ninja killer. Now here's an idea I'm pretty sure I mentioned in last year's predictions. The tackle warp wall combo is already deadly, so what if they made it even deadlier? My idea involves the tackle track being on an incline, maybe 15-25 degrees or so. This would make for even more time spent and more energy burnt on the obstacle. It's a genius move. Take one of the best obstacles in recent memory and make it even more awesome. And finally, some people don't like the double warp wall, but come on. With that incline tackle, you pretty much need this to stay for the second part of the plan to work. So there's my stage 1 course. I'll put an obstacle recap on screen now. And as for a time limit, I'd go ahead and chop 5 seconds off and go with 95 seconds. Now on to stage 2. Although there's a few issues I have with the rolling log, like the thing just deciding not to roll sometimes, I still think it's a great obstacle. I'll never forget how interesting it made stage 2 in SASUKE 38 when we first all saw it. But I think a way to modify it is to make a few drops in the track, similar to Sasuke's 13 to 17. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, Inui, it is time for a new salmon ladder. The Nobori and Kudari are getting stale. I actually have a pretty good idea. If Inui can afford it with the budget he has, he should motorize the salmon ladder. First, I'd switch the style back to swap salmon ladder form, but remove all those stupid DQ rules. Then I'd make one of the structures move up and down, and the other back and forth. A possible name for this new obstacle could be the Salmon Ladder Dimension, because this concept is eerily similar to the Cliffhanger Dimension. And if you ask me, I think it's 100% necessary to come up with a new Salmon Ladder. I don't really have that much of an issue with the spider, run and drop. I think this serves stage 2 well as that one time waster combo of obstacles. Now, I'm not saying that I'm a huge fan of the backstream here. However, I think as long as the jets are kept at the same level as in SASUKE 40, I'm okay with it staying. Like, they were at a safe level. It wasn't too hard, it wasn't too easy. It was back to being an actual threat of an obstacle again. So I was happy about that. But yeah, next up, the reverse conveyor is one of those obstacles that has to be paired with the backstream. If I were to modify something, I guess I'd put it on a slight incline or make the track a meter longer or something like that. However, the odds of this happening are pretty much zero. And finally, stage 2 staple is the wall lift. Enough said. Nothing needs to be changed here. It's still the classic final stage 2 obstacle we all know and love. So there's my stage 2. I'll put my course on the screen now. And as for a time limit, it was somewhat strict in SASUKE 40 at 100 seconds. So I'm going to take 5 more seconds off. I'm going to give it a 95-second time limit. Alright, moving on to stage 3. The flying bar has been heavily overstaying its welcome, and it needs to go. I'm not saying I hate the flying bar, although I kind of do at this point. I just think it's time for a change. As for what it would get replaced by, I honestly couldn't tell you any plausible ideas off the top of my head. So I'm really hoping that Inui just surprises us with a fun new concept to start off stage 3. Next up, I am perfectly fine with the current Sidewinder staying. It's definitely not my first choice for an obstacle, but it's definitely not my last either. It still eliminates at least 2 or 3 people every year, so it does its job as an early stage 3 obstacle. And yeah, despite the ugly aesthetic, the swing edge is still a genius concept and one of the best SASUKE obstacles brought over from A&W, at least in my opinion. I think if I were to make a modification, I'd add one more transition or space the current ones out more, if they have the space to do so. And next up, in Nui, it is also time for a new cliffhanger. The first 4 tournaments of the cliffhanger dimension, from Sasuke's 37 to 40, had a clear rate of 43%. For some comparison, the Ultra Crazy had a clear rate of 31%, and the OG Crazy had one of 25% in their first 4 tournaments. Hopefully the 5 out of 8 clears in 40 serves as a wake-up call to finally change something. As for what the new modification would be, I guess I'd stick with the same crazy jumps until at least the next Kanzen. And now, I'm pretty sure this was something mentioned by Ali Hay when he was a guest on the Sasuke Nerds, but I think a motorized vertical limit would be absolutely insane. It's another one of those combo obstacles that goes great with the cliffhangers, and I'm hoping that we get a new era of one of the best combos, probably actually the best in Sasuke history in Sasuke 41. And yeah, Pipe Slider is staying. And also, thanks for getting rid of the stoppers in Nui. It actually makes this obstacle a threat again. Again, no timing on stage 2 like always, and I'll show the course on screen now. And I'm not even going to get into the final stage, because number 1, final stages don't ever change in the middle of an era, unless you're Shin Sasuke. And number 2, I absolutely love the current final stage. I think speed climbing adds a great element, and I would prefer it over the spider climb any day of the week. But with that, that's going to conclude my Sasuke 41 course predictions. The main goal of Inui and the Sasuke crew should be to make the course Yusuke proof. Nothing against Yusuke, but if you don't want a totally predictable total victory in Sasuke 41, you might want to start changing some stuff. But what are your course hopes for Sasuke 41? Let me know in the comments below. And also expect the number predictions to be here in the coming weeks. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, stay happy and healthy.